across the UK, online and on DAB.
A new kind of talk radio. We'll get you talking. Talk radio.
Thank you, Baldy. Thank you, The Tramp. Back to normal services. Hey, tonight we'll play the Nicholas Parsons interview, the only interview I've ever heard with him where he talks about appearing on the Ed Sullivan Show. Oh, yes. 0344 499 1000. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Late Night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Down this road that never seems to end. When new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. Just keep moving on. There's a world that's waiting to unfold. A brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far, but you know it won't be long. We're almost there and we paid our fare with a hobo song. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. So if you join me for a while. Just grab your hat, come travel light, that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll find what I call home. Until tomorrow,
there we go.
You know I'm free to roll.
Normalish services resume. Normalish services resume. If there are any more breaking news about yesterday's events, and of course we will deal with them. You just heard there the sad news that an elderly gentleman who was knocked down died. Tough guy, knocking down old people and kids. You know, it's a real tough guy. The fella that did it, big man, driving at old people and children. So I'm sure him and all the cowardly arseholes in ISIS are really proud of themselves today, guys. Yeah, we got an old man and some children! Yes! Tough guys, the ISIS crowd. Real big men. Driving Land Rovers at elderly people and children. You know, really tough guys. And they must be so proud of what they've achieved, mustn't they? Oh, they must be so proud. I mean, yes, of course. It means that that people like Katie Hopkins and Nigel Farage have been earning a few extra shekels. But, you know, the tough guys driving old people and children. Wow. Absolutely incredible. I mean. Thanks for your patience with yesterday's show. Normalish services resume tonight. Normalish. I've kind of, got a normal sort of show lined up, and we'll play the interview that we did last week with Nicholas Parsons. It's brilliant. He talks about appearing on the Ed Sullivan Show about 6 times, which I'd never heard before. But of course, if we get any more breaking news, we shall let you know. We'll be keeping an eye on it. Okay? You know the rules. We might have got some new listeners tonight. We're getting new listeners all the time. and you won't quite know what the rules are. So let me tell you. The rules are, I've got some stories from today's newspapers. I found some other stories. And I will sit here for the next 3 hours, here every weeknight from 10 till 1, and I will go through them. And you are welcome to call in on those stories. You're welcome to call in on any of the little avenues and cul-de-sacs I wander down. Or you can call in about anything you want. Anything you want. You can call in about yesterday if you want. I don't really want to go down the, no, you can call in about yesterday if you want. And if you feel the need to call in, we'll see where you want to go. I was going to kind of set a couple of boundaries there, but, I don't. Let me think about it. Should have thought about it before you came on air, you idiot. Yes, I know. I've been busy. I was watching One Husband, Three Wives on Channel 4 about the Mormons, and they have lots of wives, and it just looked exhausting. To be honest, it looked exhausting and stressful and thoroughly unpleasant. So. You can call in about anything you want. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, do you feel safe in London? Call me now. Should we arm the police? Call me now. Do you think we should have a ban on all Muslims entering the country? Call me. I'm not going to do that. It's not that kind of show. And it got a little bit tense the last 25 minutes of last night's show. And I think that's partly because of the two mics coming in. And the two mics are brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But they create, they're a completely different act to me. And it just created a slightly different vibe, and I think that it meant a couple of people could call in, and maybe they'd only heard that last, the two mics coming in and not the rest of the show, and so they felt they could call in and be a little bit pointed, a little bit arch. God, I don't know how far to go with this. I don't want to do all Muslims are murderers. It's in the Quran. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that because, and I know most of you don't think that, but I do know that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you listening that do think that. And you're quite often people that call in this show and call in other shows. And I don't want to do that because, partly for the same reasons yesterday, I don't want to start creating division. Now, yes, of course, the bloke that did this believed he was doing it in the name of Islam. Okay, fine. Yeah. I get that. He would call himself a Muslim, right? But there is radical extremism and there is, I know, call me a snowflake cuck. I do believe in the moderate Muslim. I do believe that the majority of Muslims are moderate. So I don't really, this isn't really the kind of show where I'm encouraging people to phone in and say this is a Muslim problem and the integration hasn't worked, and because I don't think it is entirely a Muslim problem. I do think integration has been successful in parts, and I just don't want to create any more hatred. And there was someone on a forum, right, a really long rambling post. The basic premise of it was that I should allow people to call in, and if they wanted to make those points, then they should, and that should have been an outlet for people to phone in and say, Islam is divisive and stuff like that. No, because you can get that pretty much on every other show, not only on this station, but on the radio, with a few exceptions. And I'd like to keep it that way, if at all possible. I know lots of you are angry. I know some of you are scared. I know some of you aren't that bothered. And that's all fine. But if you want to phone in, if you want to phone up a radio show and say, that Islam is the problem and the integration doesn't work and we're at war with Muslims and all that stuff. I can give you a phone number you can call. I can give you a phone number you can call. The phone number, if you want to say all that stuff, is 0345 60 973. Okay? They would love to hear all of that stuff. That's their raison d'etre. That's why they hire racists. And there are shows on this station where you can do that as well. You jump for, just wait 12 hours. You can phone our phone number. But, I want this show to, to not add to the division, to not add to the fear that some are feeling, to not add to the hatred and mistrust of people from foreign countries, people who are different colours, and or people who worship different gods. So, if you're thinking that you want to phone in and say that, don't phone my number, because you will get short shrift. And I'll say that again later on in the show, in case anyone turns up late, because I don't want people to be, he said I could phone in and talk about anything. And then when I phoned up to say the problem is Islam and there's no such thing as moderate Muslims, he cut me off. I'm just setting out my stall now. That's not what this show is. Okay? Not what this show is at all. There are so many other places where you can find that. So many other places, where you can get that kind of stuff. Okay? And I just felt towards the end of last night's show, maybe it was because the two mics came in and they created a different energy. Maybe it's because people just, I don't know why, but I just got the feeling of, I didn't just get the feeling. I picked up on one or two callers wanted to set their own agenda. It wanted to be divisive, and no, thank you, not here. That's not what we do here. I've spent a year. Me and Catherine have spent a year lurching from left to right and up and down and all over the place, feeling our way in the dark to try and create something that is unique and is not destructive and is not hate-filled and is not, isn't your usual phone-in show where it's based on fear. Who is it? I don't know who it is. There's a radio host who says, or maybe it's Stephen Colbert actually, who says, if we ain't scared you, we ain't doing our job properly. I don't want to scare you. I'm happy to point at the coward that drove the Land Rover and laugh at him and point at him and call him a coward for driving a massive 4x4 at old people and children. I'm happy to call him out as a coward and a scumbag and all of that. But I don't want to create any more divisions in this country that are already there. Maybe it's naive. Maybe it's hippy-dippy stuff, and I know some of you hate that. Some of you get very angry. Well, don't get angry. You've got so many other outlets to feed your hatred and to nurture your fear, and there's all of that. There are shows you can phone in and you can slag off all the Muslims you want, right? It's all Muslims. So all Muslims. So many places you can do that. So allow us, please. Allow us a 3-hour window on a digital radio station that isn't listened to by that many people. Allow us a 3-hour window, please, once a night, where we can kind of turn our back on that hatred and that finger pointing and all of that. Is that all right? Is that all right? If it's not all right, switch off or listen and get angry. I'm cool with that. But if it's all right, shall we play? 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Alan, come to you after this.
Uncut after-hours conversation for the up-all-night generation. Late Night Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Okay, let's go to Mark.
Evening, Ian.
Good evening, Mark.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. I was sort of thinking about what you were saying. I was thinking more about sort of, how you can resolve differences between people and
solutions as opposed to problems. What?
Exactly. And my suggestion is communal table tennis tables, because whenever I've had an argument with my missus, we resolve it over the table tennis table.
What? Well, now, I'm assuming you're playing table tennis and not bending.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. No.
Yeah. Because it kind of relaxes you. It takes the stress out of the situation, and
the thing is, you get communal table tennis. Whereabouts do you live, Mark?
In Hertfordshire.
Because in London and I've seen it in other big cities, they have table tennis tables in parks. I think they introduced it about 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay.
And they're out there. So, but yes, Mark, you could be onto something.
I remember them from French exchange trips, years ago. And you'd see these concrete table tennis tables. It's like, wow, what a great idea.
Maybe that's where we got it from then. I don't know if it may even have been a Ken Livingstone thing in London, and then it's kind of spread. I'm sure I've seen them in Manchester and Liverpool. Yeah, they're there. They're there. The thing is, I don't really, I'm not very good at table tennis because it looks easy, but it's actually very, very difficult, isn't it?
Well, but that's the beauty of it. I mean, everyone can play. You can play as a youngster, you can play as a pensioner. It's not a complex game, but it has its levels and its layers. But it's about fun, isn't it?
Well, I tell you what, and this is by pure coincidence. I forgot to mention this. We got two Chinese fellas in tonight, and they're playing table tennis throughout the entire show this evening. You can probably hear them in the background.
Yeah, it sounds like a good rally.
It does sound. And I tell you what, Mark, this is what we'll do, and this is great, and this is because I would have forgotten to mention those guys, and it would have just sounded weird. What we'll do, we'll have these two gentlemen whose names will come to me in a bit. I just don't want the names to sound too racist. They will, Wang and his friend, they will play table tennis all night.
Good for them.
And we'll see at 1 o'clock, just before 1 o'clock, we'll see if the country is a bit more united.
Well, I hope it works.
Fingers crossed, Mark.
Good luck.
Thank you, mate. It's an excellent suggestion. 0344 499... Oh, yep, still going? Yep. 0344 499 1000. We'll have them playing all night. And we'll see. We'll see. Alan!
Hip, hip, hip,
there he is!
Anniversary for me tonight.
Sorry?
It's a year to the day that I made my first call to this station.
Why didn't you make your call on the first night?
Because I didn't call on the Monday. And I didn't know about you till the Wednesday.
Well, hang on a minute. Oh, no, today's the 23rd. I'll give you that. Happy anniversary, Alan.
We were talking about the collapse of VHS about a year ago.
Wow.
Where's the year
Now we're
gone?
talking about the collapse of my mind.
Where's the year gone?
Well, it's there are some cultures that don't see time as linear. They see it as like, a piece of string, right? And if you throw a piece of string, you get a piece of string and kind of scrunch up and then throw it on the table, you'll get like a sort of curved shape.
Yeah.
And some bits are... Have I lost you, Alan?
No.
Well,
I
okay.
haven't.
It's a shame, because I've confused myself already. And some bits are closer. This is actual proper scientific theory I'm talking about here. This might be Einstein, I'm not sure. I think it's Einstein.
Yeah.
So you get a bit of string, right, and you sort of scrunch it together. And so and the string is time, okay?
Yeah.
The string is time. And if you scrunch it together, some bits of... Or am I talking about wormholes? Yeah, wormholes. That's it.
Star Trek.
If you go through a black hole, Einstein thought it would bend. It was like a bit of string. So you've got some string, Alan.
Yeah.
Have you got any string there?
Yes, I have.
Have you? Could you toss it?
Yeah. Tossing it up. It's landing on the floor.
Why have you got string there?
because you best have string just in case.
Okay. Describe the pattern the string has formed on the floor.
It's formed, you got one end sticking out, and then a figure of 8, and then comes out the other end.
Right, well, that's what you've got there, Alan, is a black hole.
Wow.
Hope that clears things up for you. Thanks very much indeed. 03444991000 is the telephone number. We're on Periscope tonight, guys. You can watch the show live. And some of you, crazy cats, have worked out how to stream. Unfortunately, you can't see the two Chinese lads playing tennis because there's just not room to move the camera around and keep me in. But you can hear them playing. And some of you have worked out, but if you go to periscope.tv/Iain Lee, some of you have worked out how to get the image from your phone or your tablets and get it on your telly. That's weird, isn't it? I mean, that is a weird thing to want to do, but yet some of you have done this. There was a brilliant 03444991000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. There was a brilliant video on Twitter yesterday. And I went on Twitter today and I really thought, right, I'm just going to post nice stuff on Twitter because there was so much of this, this hatred and finger pointing and send them back, all of that kind of stuff going on. And I thought, right, and I said, I'm only going to post nice stuff today. Oh, it went half hard. And I failed miserably. I got a little bit political. Then I ended up arguing with someone who sent me a rude email. And it just, oh, goodness gracious me. Still, tomorrow's going to be another day. So tomorrow I will try again with Twitter. And I do that lovely thing, honestly, of deleting all of my tweets. It's so freeing. It's so refreshing. I interviewed the guy, Russian guy. I think his name is Alexei Pajitnov. I think that's his name. That's a real name, Catherine. Don't pull the face like you did when I said Wang. Alexei Pajitnov, I think is the name of the gentleman that invented Tetris, right? I think that's his name. I interviewed him, and there's a whole book about the history of Tetris. It's fascinating because he invented it when he was working in Russia when it was the Soviet Union. So of course he never made a penny from it because all the money went to the Soviet Union, and then loads of people thought they'd bought the rights to it, and Robert Maxwell thought he owned it, and he released it on the Spectrum. It's a fascinating story. And I asked Alexei, he ended up eventually defecting to America and working at Microsoft. In fact, Catherine, Alexei Pajitnov, see if you can find him. See if we'll get him on one night. Say I interviewed him in about 2000 for a documentary for Channel 4. I said to him, why... And Tetris was huge. It's hard to think now. Tetris was massive. The reason the Game Boy, the first Game Boy, the black and white Game Boy was so successful, you know the reason why it was so successful? Because it came free with Tetris. Don't tell me he's died. He's not died, has he? It came free. You got Tetris free with the Game Boy. So everyone was playing Tetris. And it was a phenomenon, an actual phenomenon. Dun, 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 dun. And I said, Alexei, why do you think this really simple, slightly annoying game is so addictive? So addictive. And he said, I've given this a lot of thought, right? And this is my reason for Tetris being so successful. When you're bad at Tetris, it's a picture of your mistakes. The screen filling up is a picture of your errors and your mistakes, okay? When you clear 3, 4, 5 lines, when you get it, that is you tidying everything up. And because you can go on forever, it's infinite, it is satisfying to clear up your mistakes and clear up your errors. And that's kind of my attitude now to Twitter. At the end of the day, I can clear up my mistakes, I can clear up my errors, I can clear up my the kind of half thoughts that I've had, my unfinished sentences, I can clear them all away and start again. Start again. Isn't that refreshing? I tried to delete... I've got a Facebook page if you want to come and join me. It's facebook.com/Iain Lee, IAINLEE. It's a really fun place to hang out. And I tried to delete all of the Facebook posts on that page. And there is no automatic way of doing it. There are a couple of programs that claim to do it, but the two that I tried weren't particularly good. They got rid of a significant portion of my Facebook posts, but there was still a huge, slightly random number that were left. And I just like the idea of just tidying up at the end of the day or first thing in the morning, clearing up my mess. Who calls them brain farts? Is that a Vonnegut thing? I don't know if it is a Vonnegut thing, but brain farts. Clearing them all up and starting again. I'd love to be able to go to my Facebook page. Not my private one, because I don't use it. I unfriended nearly everybody. But the facebook.com/Iain Lee, the page I use to promote, gigs and stuff. And it just to be blank. Just to be blank. A blank canvas. Do you remember, about 6 years ago, Facebook looked completely different, didn't it? We'll start the show in a minute. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. 0344 499 1000 if you want to dip in. Facebook looked completely different 6 years ago. And do you remember an update came out to Facebook that changed, and I can't remember what it was. But at the time, it was the most important thing in the world. It just changed the way it looked. I know there have been a few, but there was one about 6 or 7 years ago that fundamentally changed how Facebook looked. And everybody was in uproar. I hate this change. This update is outrageous. How dare they change something I will never... This is what people were saying. I will never use Facebook again. They have betrayed me with this update. Can anyone remember what the change was? No, of course not. Of course not. Can anyone remember what the change was? No. Because it was assimilation. We've got used to it. Is assimilation the right word? Probably. Or maybe not. Again, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. Remember that, dear listener. I'm talking rubbish, and I shall continue to talk rubbish. I was going to tell you a story about the Pope. I will do in a second. 03. I suspect it'll be quite quiet on the phones tonight, and that's fine. It was a weird day yesterday, and the show might have scared some people away. The show I'm doing tonight might have scared some people away, because some people might still want a bit more of a newsier thing, so they might have gone elsewhere. That's brilliant. That's fine. These are the shows I get paid for, guys. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give me a call. You'll speak to Catherine. She'll take your name and number and call you straight back. It will cost you hardly anything. Don't forget to tick your radar diaries. Late nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, you're more than welcome. I'm expecting it to be fairly quiet on the phone tonight, and that's groovy. Good news. Fans of rap music and condiments, in May, I think it's in May, Salt and Pepper are coming on the show. Not a pre-recorded interview. We're not doing it on the phone. They're going to be Salt's going to be sat there, and Pepper's going to be sat there. I don't know where N's going to sit, maybe on the sofa, but they are coming in to the studio. Salt and Pepper, dear listener. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, you can. Yeah, so there was a video that was doing the rounds yesterday, and it was a cracking little video, and it's popped up in the papers today. You know the Pope? Right, I don't know what Pope we're on now. I lose track, but Pope John Paul II, for me, as a non-Catholic atheist, Pope John Paul II for me is the Pope. And I think we're on the second or third, were we on the third one since then? Are we on the third one since Pope John Paul II? I think we are. He was the proper Pope. He was the one that came out, kissed the floor, had the Pope mobile, did all the way. He was the proper Pope. And there was a picture in Marino's, the hairdressers, on the Farnham Road in Slough. There was a picture of Marino greeting the Pope. Not in his shop. I don't think the Pope ever had his hair cut in Slough. I like the Pope's clothes. That kind of white sort of tunic cloak kind of thing. It's got buttons on it, hasn't it? I like that. He has like a white sort of long tunic and a little sort of those half cardigans that girls wear, the little half cardigans. Well, don't call me a cassock. You cassock. Oh, sorry, Catherine. I do apologise. And the little beanie, the beanie hat, isn't it? Well, look at this girl. She's going to hell. Did you see the video, Kath? Oh, it's brilliant. So the Pope's going around doing the rounds, right? Doing the rounds. And he's going up, kissing people and stuff. And so this dad holds up his little girl. She's got to be, we'll say here, I'm going to guess 3. I'm going to say 3. And so he holds up his little girl so the Pope can kiss her or whatever. I don't know. She grabs his hat, pulls it off. And fair play to the Pope, right? He bursts out laughing. He is in hysterics. And it's such a charming little video. You'll find it on YouTube, and it was on Twitter yesterday. Loads of people retweeting it. He finds it hilarious and I'm sure she finds it hilarious in the way that that only a young child and an old man can communicate. You know what I mean? The young child and an old man have got, there is a unique way they communicate. It's unlike anything else. It doesn't have to be a granddad or a grandma. There's just something special about a really small child and a really old man. And that video captures it. And he's proper genuine laughing out loud. I mean, he's not rolling on the floor. He's not like he's going to see Ricky Gervais live or something, and he's not that. But he's having a proper chuckle. I mean, he's probably put a hex on her and condemned her to eternal damnation. This is the moment. There we go, 3. A cheeky 3-year-old girl steals the Pope's hat. Find the video and have a look. It's about 5 seconds long, right? And for God's sake, someone's filmed it. I believe it's been filmed in portrait. I believe it has been filmed in portrait mode. When will we learn? If you think that you want to film a bit of news, whatever it may be, light or heavy, please, guys, just turn your camera. What does your TV look like? Is your TV a big rectangle that points upwards? No. When you go to the pictures, what does the cinema screen look like? Does it look like a big rectangle that points upwards? No. It's a big rectangle, both big rectangles, and they go sideways, don't they? They go sideways. So you've got your phone, turn it to like a TV, turn it to a cinema screen. That's all you've got to do. That is all you've got to do. People that, people that film things in portrait mode. I've got very little time for you guys. Very little time. This is the moment. A cheeky 3-year-old girl steals the Pope's hat. Estella Westrick was taken to see the Pontiff at his weekly audience at the Vatican yesterday. She was lifted up by her godfather. Wow, you're about to hear the best name ever. Mountain Butterac. His first name is Mountain. His first name is Mountain. His last name is Butterac. The only name cooler than that is Arthur Fonzarelli. She was lifted up by her godfather, Mountain Buturak, after being called forward by a security guard. Little did that security guard know. But as His Holiness kissed her on the cheek, she reached up and took his cap, known as a beanie. Pope Francis, 80, laughed, and Estella was seen on video smiling as he reclaimed his cap and put it back on. Her family are on holiday from Atlanta, USA, and visit her godfather, Mr. Buturak, who lives in Rome, or Mountain, as I'm going to call him from now on. He said before she went up, she was a little nervous. Then she stole his hat. It was hilarious. Everyone was laughing, including the Pope. Estella's parents were initially horrified. I can just imagine my boys doing that. Oh no, my boys would get like chocolate fingers on his white coat. That's what they do. Chocolate fingers. No, you don't know if it's chocolate with them lads. Seriously, I caught them doing. Here we go. So I got 7 and 5. And my 5-year-old came out of school with a little plastic Scooby-Doo, and we went and he went and had some cake and a drink in Costa, and we went off and had to do a bit of shopping, and then we got back in the car, and he said, I've lost my Scooby-Doo. I was like, oh. So we went and picked up the eldest from school, and we drove back, and luckily where I'd parked, I still had 4 minutes left on the ticket. So we parked it again. I said, right, we're going to do a mercy dash to Costa. But I'm telling you now, son, it will be thrown away. Okay. And you may not have even left it there because we went to loads of shops. We got to Costa. We ran downstairs. It had gone. And I was going to walk out, right? And I thought, no, they sort of know me in there because I go in there quite a lot. And I said, look, I know what the answer's going to be. You've not found a tiny little plastic 2-inch Scooby-Doo, have you? And the guy went, oh, yeah, no, we picked that up. I got it. And he pulled it out, and my boy's face was beaming. Because he got his Scooby-Doo back. So we went home, and we were watching Horrible Histories. I'm a shouty man. It's their favourite thing. I'm a shouty man. And, my youngest said, Daddy, can I go? Are you typing messages on my screen? Because I'm not seeing them. Okay. You're updating your Facebook status. I apologise. I do apologise, Catherine. He said, Daddy, can I go out to the car? It was parked on we've got a driveway and then there are some bushes. He said, can I go out to the car and get my Scooby-Doo? I went, yeah, of course you can, son. It's unlocked. So he opened the door, went out, and I was sort of pottering around, cooking the supper and stuff, and it went out. And I just sort of walked past the front door and I saw him run off. So I watched it, right? I saw him run off with his trousers around his bum and his pants, and I went, excuse me, mister, what do you think you're doing? Nothing. He had his willy out. Nothing. I said, you're not going for a wee in the front garden, are you? But people could say bushes, but people could say, you're not going for a wee. He went, Yes. I went, and I just started laughing. I said, what are you doing that for? You've walked past the toilet. What are you doing that for? He said, don't know. I said, do you do this very often? He said, no. I said, look, I'm not angry. I think it's hilarious, right? But I want some answers. How often, have you done this before? He goes, yeah, I do it sometimes. I said, when was the last time you did it? We worked out he'd done it about 5 days ago, although his concept of days is not brilliant. And he's done it a few times. And I said, look, right, I'm not angry, okay? If you really want to go out for a wee in the garden, right, I'd rather you didn't, but could you do it in the back garden where it's a bit more discreet? And I think he was cool with that. But he wanted to have a wee in the front garden. I said, look, I'd rather you didn't, but I don't actually mind if you do it in the... And then I said, you've not done a poo out there, have you? And he went, no. So that was something. Anyway, I don't know why I was talking about that. 0344 499 1000.
Late night Iain Lee.
On air and off the leash.
On Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
0344 499 1000. Estella's parents were initially horrified, but later found the incident funny. Mr. Buturak said the family had arrived hours before the Pope's appearance to secure a good spot. He tweeted, took my goddaughter to meet the Pope. She stole his hat. I mean, that is brilliant, isn't it? That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. We've just, Kath is, if you're following me or Kath on Twitter, she's just tweeted the clip in question if you want to. The ping pong. I was going to say ping pong pang. The ping pong game is going on afoot. We had a caller early on in the show, maybe one of only 2 callers we're going to get this evening, and I'm cool with that, guys. I'm cool with that. Who thought that the best way to bring this country together again is via the medium of table tennis. Which country, Catherine, do they call table tennis whiff-waff? There's a country, it's not France then?
No, I don't think so.
There's a country where they call it, and I realise I just stopped halfway through saying that word on the first sentence. There's a country where they call it whiff-waff.
Is there?
I'm sure there is, yes. I'm confident.
Do you want me to research that?
Well, I mean, research is...
Can you Google that?
Yes, thanks. Yeah, thanks. And then can you, do some fake phone calls for me, please? You do too.
How many do you want?
Just 3.
Okay.
3 fake phone calls would do it for me, Catherine. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. There is somewhere, isn't there, where they call it whiff-waff? Not France, then. Whiff-waff. Where is it? Maybe I'm going to say France. I'm going to say the French call it whiff-waff. But I don't know. Hey, guys. And I say this to all of you junkies out there listening. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. Okay? There's a new drug. Well, it's not even a drug. I don't even know what this is. I don't understand the world anymore. I'm a very old man, and I am not meant to understand the world of highs anymore. This is... Oh, hang on. Why have they stopped playing? Guys, carry on playing, for goodness sakes. Thank you. Deary me. This is incredible, right? And but it's kind of funny because it's stupid, but it's also really upsetting because it's stupid. What kids are doing? Oh, is the switchboard broken? Is it? Or is no one phoning? Maybe. If the switchboard isn't broken, could you tell me it is, just to make me feel better about myself? That would be good, please. Youngsters are risking their lives by inhaling. Now, can you guess what it is that people are inhaling to cop a buzz? Anybody? Anybody? It's the toxic fumes from burning wheelie bins. Yay! They're setting fire to wheelie bins because the toxic stuff that comes off it is getting them high. Jeez. I mean, right, the knee-jerk reaction is, hey, aren't they stupid? But, if this is actually happening, and I always take drug stories in tabloid newspapers, I always take them with, half a pound of salt, because a lot of it is very sensationalist. A lot of it is very, they want to sell papers and they want to make the story as big and as exciting as they possibly can make it. So I never quite believe the drug stories in newspapers. Never quite believe them. No, it's working. It's just no one's calling him. Okay. Well, I was holding out that maybe it was a technical fault that was causing you lot not to call in. Maybe the technical fault is my mouth. The switchboard is working. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. But I remember kids. I remember kids sniffing glue, and I saw some kids not that long ago, maybe last year or the year before, near where I live, in quite a nice part of town, but a very quiet part of town, and they were sat by the river on a bench sniffing lighter gas, and I walked past it with my wife and kids. No one else saw it apart from me, but they were doing it quite blatantly. We walked past them one way, and then we came back 20 minutes, they were still there, and I sent my family on their way, and I just went and had a word with them. I said, guys, right, and I said something along the lines of, they're like in their teens, right? And I went up to them and said something along the lines of, guys, listen, I used to like getting high as much as the next person. There's a 40, what was I then? But a bloke in his early 40s coming up to them and going, hey, guys, look, I used to like getting high as much as the next person. And then I discovered Jesus Christ. That's what it was like. I didn't say the Jesus Christ bit, but I did say, so guys, look, I used to enjoy getting high as much as the next person, right? But that stuff you're sniffing is I think I say crap. That stuff you're sniffing is crap. And also, please, if you're going to do it, right, don't do that. Do something else. But if you're going to do it, don't do it where my kids can watch it. That was the point I was getting. I said, don't do it where my kids can see it. Please, just have a bit of respect. And they were cool with that. They were down with that. I went for the high five. They left me hanging. That's absolutely fine. That is absolutely fine. I had a couple of spare Bibles and I gave them, asked if anyone wanted to join in a group prayer. And no, they didn't. But it's, that stuff just kills your brain, man. It just kills your brain. Youngsters are risking their lives. So actually, this is, knee-jerk reaction, ho, 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 it's funny. But actual reaction is, it's a bit sad and pathetic and it's a bit stupid. I haven't got an out time, by the way. Thank you. Youngsters are risking their lives by inhaling toxic fumes from burning wheelie bins to get a short high. Police have described it as the current drug of choice. PC Jonathan Reed of South Yorkshire Police added, Yorkshire? I'm from Yorkshire. Is that Yorkshire accent? Is that a Yorkshire accent? Police added the health and safety implications are terrible. It is only a matter of time before someone harms themselves. Anti-solvent abuse charities warn the trend could be more dangerous than sniffing petrol. Sniffing petrol? What? Sniffing petrol? That's a thing? Flippin' heck. Stephen Ream of Resolve said, it sounds like it would make you sick before you get high. It would be toxic. One waste management firm has reported its bins being torched in Wolverhampton, Hull, Swindon and Glasgow. Mark Hall of Business Waste said, idiots are stealing wheeled bins. Who calls them wheeled bins? They're wheelie bins, Mark Hall. Wheeled bins. They're wheelie bins, for crying out loud. Idiots are stealing wheeled bins from outside homes and businesses, taking them to waste grounds or parks and torching them for whatever kicks they can derive. The only thing you get from bin sniffing is a headache, melted soles on your trainers, and all your clothes smell like a campfire. I'm not convinced this is a real thing, and it's in most of the papers. So what I'm imagining, my old BBC head is kicking into gear. Come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. Is that this Resolve anti-drugs charity have put out a thing saying wheelie bins are being sniffed. I don't know if I buy that. I can understand the visceral thrill of watching a wheelie bin burn and melt. I'm not saying do it, of course don't do it. I can understand why that would be exciting. Burning things are exciting. But I don't know if I necessarily buy the sniffing it to get a buzz. I don't know. 0344 499 1000. We're playing table tennis or whiff waff for peace this evening. You're more than welcome to join in. You can give us a call if you want. If you don't want to call in, that's absolutely fine. But before the end of the show, though, we're going to have Nicholas Bloody Parsons, and I call him that as well, talking about his appearances on the Ed Sullivan Show. You ain't heard nothing like it.
Talk Radio.
Struth, guys. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. You'd be more than welcome to. You can call in about absolute... Oh, now you call in! Cleo and Glenn and Paul, up yours. You made me... I'm tempted not to let those three on. They've made me work for the last 45 minutes. You complete and utter bastards.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Well, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with fire up. I've never been with anything less than a 9. So fine. I've been on fire with Sally Field, gone past with a girl named Bo, but somehow they just don't end up as mine. It's a death-defying life I lead. I take my chances. I die for living in the movies and TV. But the hardest thing I ever do is watch my leading ladies kiss some other guy while I'm bandaging my knee. I might fall from a tall building, I might roll a brand new car, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman that made Redford such a star. I've never spent much time in school, but I've taught ladies plenty. It's true, I hire my body out for pay. Hey, hey, I've gotten burned over Cheryl Teague's, blown up for Raquel Welch. But when I wind up in the hay, it's only hay. Hey, hey, I might jump an open drawbridge or Tarzan from a vine, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman that makes Eastwood look so fine.
0344 499 1000. A little bit of fun on Periscope. A little bit of fun. It's funny when I don't really like Periscope for the show. I think radio should be something you listen to. I think it should be something you listen to. You're in bed or you're driving or you're whatever. I think you should listen to it. And I don't really like watching it, but that's my personal thing. But I'm also aware that we are now a year and 2 days old and there hasn't been that much advertising, and that by me streaming it on Periscope and putting you've got to try and put a really interesting title, right? That gets people from all over the world. And the last few times I've done it, it's got this absolute fruitcake from the United States of America. GDM_rocks is his Twitter handle. Absolute fruitcake. The Jesuits did it. I don't even know what that really means, but the Jesuits did it. And he keeps posting quite obnoxious stuff on Periscope. And I saw he popped up, right? And I missed, you can block people, right? When they come up, you can block them. And I saw he posted something, and I tried to block him and missed it. And I said, that Jesuits guy is on here. Oh, man, he's too good for me. I'm never going to be able to, I keep missing his posts. So that, of course, his ego suddenly went ba-doing, ba-doing, ba-doing. So he started posting, he posted ha, 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 and then about a dozen smiley emoticons. Which is exactly what I want him to do. So then I can tap on his name and then block him. And he's muted on Twitter. He'd be spouting stuff. And I said, phone in, man. Phone in. And we have had, not for a while, actually, but we have had people from... Oh, I'll tell you what we'll do tomorrow. We'll do a Periscope Love Bar. Should we do that tomorrow? We have had people calling in from all over the world. And you can call in from all over the world. What's the international dialing code for us, Catherine? Type it on the screen. Type in our full phone number with the international dialing code, please. Because you can, if you're watching abroad, you can call in and we will call you back. You need to call in, make contact with us. We will call you back. So it won't cost you too much. So if you're from abroad, 0044 344 499 1000. If you're in England, 0344 499 1000. If you're abroad, 0044 344 499 1000. Leave that up because I'll type that up on my Twitter thing as well. And honestly, you'll be on the phone for about a minute, and then Catherine will call you back. So it won't cost you that much. And I said to this gentleman yesterday, was on the Periscope and on Twitter, I said, why don't you call in, man? Call in. Because this is, I think, the only show that gives the same amount of time and respect to absolute fruitcakes as it does to experts. You know, I mean, we had some great experts on yesterday who were treated with the same respect and the same level of interest as the fella that thought the Earth was hollow, as the flat earthers, as I treat Nicholas Parsons, as I'm going to treat Glenn and Paul. Cleo, I'll destroy him because he deserves it. But everyone gets the same thing. And this is true, and I really want to get this across, that if you have an alternative point of view, if you have an alternative outlook on the world, you're welcome on. I'll challenge it to a certain extent, but I'm just keen to hear it. So, if you're calling from the UK, 0344 499 1000. If you're calling from abroad, 0044 344 499 1000. You see? Let's go to Glenn. Evening, Glenn.
Hi, Ian. How are you?
I'm a little bit windy, Pops, because I'm drinking coffee during the show, which I'm not meant to do. But there you go.
How much coffee?
I think this is my first cup during the show, actually. But I've had too much coffee today, so I'm listening. I'm just typing the international number onto Twitter for foreigners.
Yes, that's bad. Too much coffee is bad.
It is.
It makes your guts rot.
It what?
It makes your guts rot.
What do you mean?
Well, it makes you ill.
Well, hang on a minute. You've gone from rotting guts to ill. I reckon if I push you a bit more, you'll just say it keeps you awake at night.
Yeah, it does that too.
Yeah, but that's not rotting guts. That's not because your guts are rotting.
No, it's because your brain is sort of going a little bit wild.
Yeah,
you know.
But here's an interesting thing, right? Here's an interesting thing, Catherine. You'll find this interesting.
Yeah.
There is no, you know, kids, right? They eat sugar, they go nuts, right? They go absolutely nuts. Yeah, drink sugary drinks, they go nuts, right? You know that, Glenn?
Yeah, the Simpsons episode when Homer feeds Flanders kids the sugar, and they've never had sugar anymore, and they all go mental.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you're going to, you use that. I use, and Catherine, you know this. If you give kids, there is no scientific evidence to back that up. There is no scientific evidence that backs up, that proves giving sugar to kids drives them mental. There's none. There is none.
You've seen it, though. You've seen it with your own eyes.
Have I, though?
You know it's true.
Have I seen it with my own eyes?
Oh, how many times have you given them, I don't know, like, tangy sweets or something like that, and then, like...
Have you just Googled it, Kath? Well, here's the thing, right? My boys, they don't like fizzy drinks. So very occasionally, if we're out for a meal, I'll have a Coke. Because I don't drink booze, so I'll order three. I like to have 3 drinks with a meal: a cold glass of tap water, milky coffee, and it'll either be a Sprite or a Coke, right? And so it comes, and the boys say, "What's that?" And I say, "Oh, I used to call it medicine, but now I say, oh, it's a fizzy drink. It's a Coke. Would you like some?" And they say, "Was it fizzy?" So yeah. I said, "Oh no, don't like fizzy." And they don't like fizzy drinks. It's amazing. When I was their age, I was necking Tizer and 7-Ups and all of that stuff.
God, when I was 7, I think I was necking cider.
Flippin' heck, Glenn!
I thought it was a pop. I thought it was fizzy pop. Sorry?
You thought it was fizzy pop? I remember my Uncle Dennis, who was a bit of a bad boy. He was a nice man, actually, but he was a bit of a naughty boy. And I must have been 8, and it was my cousin Lee, who was, I think, about 3 years younger than me, was 6. And it was the days, we used to go and visit my grandparents in London. And my dad and all the men would go to this horrible little boozer on Hillingdon Street in southeast London. It was on the corner, horrible little boozer. And kids weren't allowed in. So me and my cousins would just stand outside. It was on a street. It wasn't like a pub.
Did you have a bag of crisps?
Bag of crisps and a Coke. It wasn't a beer garden or anything. We just stand outside it on the street.
I know the thing. Yeah.
Once my Uncle Dennis came out with some lemonade for Lee, and he said, "Lee, I've got you some lemonade." Lee was about 6 or 7, and a glass of lemonade. So Lee necked it, right, and then puked up on the street, and all the adults started, including my dad and Uncle Dennis, they started wetting themselves. He went, "Nah, it's gin and tonic, son." Flipping heck! And he necked it! And puked up! It was the funniest thing. You try doing that now, Glenn! You try doing that now!
I came from a little village and, we used to have sort of parties and all the kids were sort of involved and it just sort of, as the adults got more and more drunk, they'd ply the kids with a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
And, I remember sort of Christmas Eve, we used to go to Christmas Mass. Not that we believed in God, it was just part of the village, you know? It was part of the community and that. And I remember being a kid up there with all the adults singing the carols and singing all the wrong words to all, and falling about laughing with everyone. It was, it was quite cool.
It was the damn thing, and my father-in-law, whenever he has a glass of wine, I think it's only wine, will kind of try and offer it to the boys, and we go, please don't, just don't. And I understand it, and I, used to sip bits of my dad's beer and stuff, but then look how I turned out. I don't want them, Anyway, Glenn.
Ian,
yes.
Anyway, the point was, right, there's 2 points, really. One was, I followed you since the 11 o'clock show with Daisy.
Yes.
Do you remember Daisy popping balloons behind old politicians to try and make them have a heart attack?
I don't remember that, no. I remember her going out and, I think it was a little feature called Daisy Says or Daisy Does, and she would go and vox pop and stuff, and I remember them being very funny, but I don't remember that specific one, no.
Right, okay, that did happen.
Okay, no, I'm sure it did. We were crazy those days.
The other thing was, sort of talking about your sort of preamble to the show.
Yeah.
If everyone's got the chip off their shoulder, and this is like everyone, like religious, feminist, whatever, if everyone just lost the bloody chip off their shoulder, then surely we'll get on a little better, you know?
Well, no. Actually make a good point. If everybody, the feminists, the homosexuals, the trans... if everyone got rid of...
I don't care.
No, exactly.
I really do not care.
No, of course you don't. Of course you don't, Glenn. If everyone just got their chips off their shoulders, then... Why?
There wouldn't be any anger against
No, there wouldn't, because, and people like you and me, Glenn, we would thrive. White, middle-aged men, heterosexual, white, middle-aged men, we would thrive, Glenn. We would thrive like we have done for centuries, until these women, and these homosexuals, and these people that have suffered, discrimination for centuries, until they started to want to be equal with me and you, Glenn. What the hell is that all about? That's insane!
The fact is that we all are.
Okay, well, you tell that...
I really do not care what people...
I know you don't. I know you don't. And I know you don't, Glenn, because you are a white, heterosexual, middle-aged man. If you were...
I'm secured, is it? I'm secure in the fact that I have this opinion that...
No, but you mentioned feminists, and I thought that was odd, because you try doing the same job you're doing and take a 30% pay cut.
I wouldn't mind that.
Well, no, you would, but be sensible. You would, and that is what a lot of women still...
That's an actual fair point, Ian.
I know it is, because I'm good at this, and, the reason that we have...
I listened to you on LBC. I saw you on the... Yeah.
You can suck up to me as much as you want, but you are
No, I'm not sucking up at all.
He said sucking.
Is that bad?
It just... Sometimes the S sounds like an F on the telephone.
Oh, right, okay, sorry.
That's all right. Glenn, thank you for your call. Nice to talk to you. 0344 499 1000. If you women... got the chips, just let go of those chips on your shoulders and accepted that you're not meant to earn as much as us men. Everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. That's what he's saying. I get the thing about the religious thing, but, I don't. No, I don't, actually. No, I don't. 0344 499 1000. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
The wild man of late night radio is back.
Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
03444 991 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Yes, Paul!
Hey, Ben, you alright?
Yeah, I'm alright, fella. What you got for us?
Well, you had a report you were reading there about bins being set on fire, people getting high. There was no problem with that, but that's a Dorset accent you put on.
This what?
It's a Dorset accent you put on.
I did a Yorkshire. No, I think you'll find if you listen back to the tapes and visit the area, that was very much a Yorkshire accent I was putting on.
Oh, I'm in Yorkshire.
Well, get me a Yorkshireman.
What's that?
Get me a Yorkshireman.
Yeah, you're talking to one.
Oh, get stuffed, mate. What is that? What is that Ponzi accent you got?
This is Halifax.
This is rubbish. Yorkshire talks a bit like that. You don't see many of them around here these days. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm just too far out. I mean West Yorkshire, to be fair, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not proper Yorkshire, is it? It's not proper Yorkshire.
I mean, I'm just not good enough.
Exactly. So don't phone me. I've got enough people having a pop at me via email and Twitter. Now I've got them phoning in and doing it.
Oh, I love you, Ian. I'm not giving a pop at you. I just thought I'd give you.
I'm going to have a pop at you in a minute. My fist is going to pop your nose in a minute, sunshine.
You asked though when you said, "Is that Yorkshire accent?" I just thought, well, maybe I'll just call in. I did want to ask something anyway.
Go on.
Well, I can hear something when I tuned in. It was like ticking in the background. I thought, have you got the world's smallest game of ping pong going?
No, well, that's a bit racist. No, it's we've got two Chinese lads. It's Wang, and I didn't get his friend's name. And they're playing ping pong. And the reason is, let me put the microphone. Let me just move the microphone a little bit closer. There we go. There we go. There we go. The reason is we had a caller who said, because I didn't want to make the show tonight, Paul, like all the other shows where it was divisive and it was full of hatred and all of this, and I was wondering how we could unite Great Britain. And a caller said that when him and his wife have an argument, they get out the table tennis table and they have a game of whiff-waff, ping-pong, table tennis. And he thinks that table tennis could unite the country. So, by coincidence, Wang and his mate were playing table tennis in the studio anyway. And so we're using them to see it. They're going to play for the whole show. And just before 1 o'clock, we're going to find out, Paul, if the country is more, less, or the same united as it was at 10 o'clock.
So the question is, did you bring them into the studio, or did you bring the microphone out to them?
No, they're just here. We've moved the sofa out, and I don't know why they're here. You can't sit on Periscope because it involves moving it. I don't know why they're here. It's purely a coincidence, Paul.
I've blown my mind.
Now, Paul, listen, I have to say, right, because we had a complaint yesterday from someone about how some parts of the show went, so, and my boss has pulled me up on it, so I have to do this now, and I forgot to do it earlier in the show. I apologise. Paul.
Yes.
I feel that this conversation has reached a conclusion. Do you agree with me?
Well, we could talk about pop if you like.
Okay, he doesn't agree. I'll keep him on. Got to keep him on. What else do you want to talk about, Paul?
Well, you were talking about sugar a minute ago and stimulants.
Yeah. There is no scientific evidence that giving kids sugar makes them go bonkers.
I was going to say that as well. I noticed when you were talking about it that caffeine does make you hyperactive, but sugar is more of a psychosomatic effect. It's more how the parent expects the child to behave and how the child responds to that.
Isn't that? I'm struggling to get my head around it because I only recently conducted some experiments and the results were not what I expected. Then I did some research online and found out there was no evidence to back this theory up. Oh. It sounds crazy, Paul, but it's true.
Well, it could be the additives. We don't know if they're sensitive to them yet, but there's a lot of stuff in pop that I don't think is really fit for human consumption. But then,
so delicious,
you know, what's in water? Do we know? You know,
I've got the eyes because I'm drinking Tizer.
Oh, Tizer, yeah.
Well, Paul, again, I have to.
The old Lucozade.
No, it's not finished. No, okay, right. I feel this conversation has reached a conclusion, Paul. Do you agree with me?
Let's go with that, shall we?
OK, Paul, if you're happy to conclude this conversation, I'm now going to cut you off, but I just want you to know that if you are happy with that, in a few seconds, your phone line will go dead. Are you happy for me to proceed?
I am, lad. Why not?
Thank you very much indeed. I just have to do that because of complaints we received yesterday and today. So I just have to check that every caller is happy that the conversation has ended, and that they're happy for the call to be terminated. Because some people got very upset yesterday when I felt the dull call was over. And I know it's arrogant of me, after hosting phone-in shows for 13 years, to think I know when the call on my shows, the calls on my show are over. I know it's, and then I put the fader down and cut them off and go into the next one. I know it's arrogant of me to think I know how to use the different voices and the different calls as colours and tones and textures in the show. I know, and I apologise to every caller I've spoken to in the last 13 years. There we go. I'm getting loads of... Oh, dear. Getting loads of Americans coming on Periscope. Oh, dearie me. Right. Cleo!
Hello. How are you?
You
know what? You set a little earworm off in my head. You know when you mentioned wormholes?
Yeah.
I've been thinking of a song. I don't know whether you learned it as a child down south, called the Wiggly Woo.
Go on, let's hear it.
I'll try to remember all the words. There's a worm at the bottom of my garden.
No, hang on a minute. That song's just called There's a Worm at the Bottom of My Garden.
Is it not called the Wiggly Woo?
No. That's what the worm is called. The song is called...
You're right.
The song is called There's a Worm at the Bottom of the Garden.
And his name is Wiggly Woo. What's the rest of the words? There's a worm at the bottom of my garden, and I don't know what to do.
Well, now, hang on a minute, because you're saying that this is an earworm.
It's stuck in my head.
Well, but it's not stuck in your head that well, because you don't know the words or the tune.
Oh, I've got the tune down, but it's like trying to remember the words.
You didn't sing it! You didn't sing the tune!
Shall I do it with more confidence?
Yes, please.
There's a worm at the bottom of my garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo. There's a worm at the bottom of my garden, and I don't know what to do.
Here we go. Hang on a minute. Stop singing, because you're actually going to wake the dead. But it's a great. We've got a great phone in now, Cleo. Songs with worms in them. So we got Wiggly Woo.
Oh.
We've got I'm going to go and eat worms.
What's that?
Nobody likes me, everybody hates Scaramouche. Nobody don't go into Bohemian Rhapsody. Nobody likes me, everybody hates Scaramouche. Think I'll go and eat worms.
I've never heard of that,
There's the brilliant, do you know Dr. Worm?
You're making this up.
No! Wow, dude! If only I could make that up, I would be a genius.
Dr. Worm.
You don't know Dr. Worm?
No.
You don't know Dr. Worm?
Never heard of that one, dude.
You just sit there, fella, and you enjoy.
Whoa.
Here we go. They call me Dr. Worm. Good morning, how are you? I'm Dr. Worm. I'm interested in things. I'm not a real doctor, but I am a real worm. I am an actual worm. I live like a worm. I like to play the drums. I think I'm getting good, but I can handle criticism. I'll show you what I know, and you can tell me if you think I'm getting better on the drums. I'll leave the front unlocked 'cause I can't hear the doorbell. What do you reckon, Cleo?
I've never heard of it like.
You've never heard this? Well,
the Smiths?
Yeah, it's a bit like the Smiths. Hang on, stay there. Got some more. I get into it, I can't tell if you are watching me twirling the stick. When I give the signal, my friend Rabbi Vol will play the solo. This is Rabbi Vol playing the solo, Cleo.
This is mint.
Stay there. Little bit more to go. Big finish. Here we go, guys. Big finish. Someday somebody else besides me will call me by my stage name. They will call me Dr. Worm. Good morning, how are you? I'm Dr. Worm. I'm interested in things, but I'm not a real doctor. But I am a real worm. I am an actual worm. I live like a worm, and I like to play the drums. I think I'm getting good, but I can handle criticism. I'll show you what I know, and you can tell me if you think I'm getting better on the drums. I'm not a real doctor, but they call me Dr. Worm.
Bravo.
Well, now, this is the thing. This is why I can't be a pop star, because I need to have a lie down for 10 minutes now. And probably
is that
change...
off a cartoon or something?
Sorry?
Is it off a cartoon or something?
It's a song! It's Dr. Worm!
I'm going to look it up. It sounds mint. I might learn it.
Thank you very much, Cleo. You'll do it better than I did.
Uncut after-hours conversation for the up-all-night generation. Late night Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Oh, boy. There we go. That's it. You can see why rock stars take lots and lots of drugs. All rock stars take all the drugs, because they really... If they give as much as I do, and I really do give a lot during my performances, my pop music performances, and I find them absolutely exhausting. But I'm spent. I'm a spent force. Literally every hole is spent. Matt!
Hello?
Hello, Matt.
Hello, yes. Sorry.
Yes, that's okay.
I was distracted by the periscope being a bit behind.
The periscope is a little bit behind, yes.
Yeah, sorry. I just had one point that I wanted to make. You brought up the sugar, and there's no evidence that it makes kids hyperactive.
Yes?
I just wanted to add another thing that everyone kind of assumes is true, but isn't. So you know there's a thing where girls in like living together think they kind of sync in their cycles.
Yes.
There's no evidence for that at all.
Okay, thank you for that, Matt.
That's cool.
Excellent stuff indeed. How do you know this, Matt?
I listened to a very good podcast about it.
What podcast was discussing women's periods in such detail?
I think it might have been an Economist podcast.
The Economists, gosh. Okay, well, thank you, Matt. I'm glad you've cleared that up. I'm glad someone's cleared it up. Blimey, not my job. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Jonathan!
Evening, Ian.
Oh, and don't take this the wrong way, but every time I hear it's you, Jonathan, my heart sinks a little bit. I wonder if our racist, borderline Nazi friend, racist Jonathan, has made a comeback. I don't know why he stopped phoning us. No idea. I didn't tell him to stop phoning. For some reason, he decided that he would stop phoning. And I always have a little glimmer of hope that maybe he'll come back to the fold. But no, it's just good old... it's good old muesli munching, sandal wearing, non-racist Jonathan calling. Jeez.
Well, the other Jonathan's probably quite busy at the moment, spewing poison on Twitter.
Yeah.
I wanted to phone about the girl stealing the Pope's hat. Does that make her the new Pope by Pope laws?
Oh, well, she'd have to sit in the Pope chair, and let's not go too into that. I think now again. I'm sure I saw that. Me and my boys are watching Horrible Histories. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it's good. Good stuff.
I'm a shouty man. All the time they'll just go, Daddy, can I say something? Yeah, go on. I'm a shouty man. Constantly.
They never stop, do they?
There is an episode of Horrible Histories where they talk about that, and yes, up until I think it was about 1632, if you could steal the Pope's hat, you became the Pope, but they realised that was silly. So in about 1632, they changed that so that it was no longer the case.
How do you become Pope now if there's an existing Pope? Do you just have to wait for the style? Can you force that to happen?
You've got to believe in Jesus. That's like the first. That's like the 11 plus for popes. Do you believe in Jesus? No. Well, then you just go to a comprehensive. Do you believe in Jesus? Yes. Well, then you go to Pope Academy. Don't they? One of my favourite, I was going to say, talk about drawing straws. One of my favourite gags in the television series, The Monkees, right? There are two really good visual gags in it, right? And one of them is, I can't remember if they want to date a girl or they want to go for a job. One of them wants to go for a job or something, right? And they say, okay, guys, I know what we'll do. Let's draw straws. And they go, yeah, that sounds fair. And they all grab a piece of paper and a pen, and they all draw straws. And Peter, of course, draws a really tiny straw. And they go, oh, Peter, you drew the short straw. And it's such a delicious gag. And there's another really good gag while I'm thinking about this, and we'll get back to popes in a minute. There's one episode where Davy is so horny, right? He's just like, he's rampant. Just so horny. And he's just like falling in love all the time. And he's wearing a yellow jersey with a black stripe down the side, right? And they, the other monkeys say, look, Davy's so horny, we're gonna, tie him to a chair. So they've got this big, sort of like a throne chair. And, they, put like a handcuff around his ankle, around the chair leg. And then the other monkeys go off to do something. And they come back and the house is empty. And Davy's gone. They can't know, where's Davy gone? Right. And it's such a delicious gag. I mean, you can see what's coming, but it's done so beautifully and it's so unusual for them. So they're running down the street looking for Davy, and they see him in the distance in the distinctive jersey and the Prince Valiant haircut, and he's dragging this chair along. And they go, Davy! And they grab him, and it's another bloke. And they go, oh, so sorry, we thought you were someone else. It says another bloke wearing the same jumper and who just by coincidence is dragging a chair down the street. It's delicious. And that's how they choose a pope.
You have to be wearing a chair.
They vote. I think, don't all the cardinals or the bishops or whoever, I don't quite know the I'm going to say cardinals. The cardinals have to vote. Didn't we come close this time to having a black pope? Weren't we? I'm sure, because the last pope did something that hasn't happened for about 100 years. He resigned. They never resigned from being a pope. And I think the reason that was given, I don't know if this was ever proven, but wasn't it suggested that he had dementia? He had Alzheimer's, I think, the last pope. So he became aware, or, someone made the decision, whether it was him or not, that he couldn't actually keep on poping. And so he resigned, and that hasn't happened for like 100 years or 200 years, something like that. And I am sure, I read an article saying that it was really close to, in the voting, like a black bishop or cardinal, whatever, got through to like the final two or the final three, and it was really close. Yeah, it was really close to being a black pope. But I don't know.
Would that have mattered though?
Sorry?
Would that have mattered?
Oh, yeah, massively. Oh, I think it would have mattered because, as always, when it's something is the first, I think it's really significant. And also the Catholic religion is huge in Africa. Yeah. And you never know if it would have had, having a black pope going to Africa and talking to Catholics there, it might have made, I don't know what kind of difference it would have made. But yeah, no, I think it would have been an important thing. The first black pope. Would anything have changed? Yeah. Nah, not probably. It'd still be some old rich dude, but,
it would be a leap forwards. I mean, that has never happened before. There's so many firsts that still need to happen. But will we see them in our lifetimes, Ian?
Well, Jonathan, if you're talking about you losing your virginity, I just don't know. Now, Jonathan, I feel that this conversation has come to an end. Do you agree, or do you have more to say to me?
I'm just going to say I'm looking forward to the rabbit hole on Sunday, the last London one for a while. I'm hoping it's going to be good.
And now I'm going to cut you off. Are you okay, Jonathan, if I cut you off?
I'm not okay, but I accept it.
Okay, there we go. No, that's fair enough. Fair play. He wasn't okay with it, but he accepted it. Yeah, it's the last rabbit hole in London, at least until June, maybe a bit later. Maybe even a bit later. We've got one in Manchester in May. We're trying to organise one in Brighton at the end of May, but it's a bit tricky. But we're trying to do something with the comedian Brian Gittins, and it might be like a Saturday lunchtime in Brighton. We're trying. But yes, this Sunday, the Rabbit Hole, there are still a handful of tickets left if you want to come. It is the last one we're doing in London for a while. ticketsource.co.uk/Ian-Lee. IAIN-LEE. ticketsource.co.uk/Ian-Lee. Right, I've got no more calls lined up, so now will be an excellent time for you to pick up your telephone and ring 0344 499 1000. Don't forget to tick your radar diaries. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
Late Night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
That American guy really doesn't like, Jesuits are like people who believe in Jesus, right? And he's going on, he keeps joining on the Periscope thing, and I don't know why. I'm trying not to be too, well, I'm not angry, I find it amusing. I had someone today saying, I really got under your skin, didn't I? And I said, no, not at all. You were it was a mild diversion while I was queuing in the post office and doing boring stuff like that. You know, it was kind of a diversion from the mundanity of life. But no, it didn't get under my skin. Don't get under my skin when someone sends me abuse in an email and then gets all upset on Twitter and all entitled. It doesn't get under my skin. Does Catherine watch this chat? No, she doesn't. The Periscopers. If you want to watch the show, you can. If you go to periscope.tv/Iain Lee, if you want to give me a call, 0344 499 1000. Catherine, wait, let me do the next 15 minutes, and after midnight, if you want to come in and sit in and we can have some of that. Oh, there's loads of stories in the papers today about checks, about writing checks, and there's going to be a new system for checks, right? The last time I wrote a cheque was about 3 months ago. It took me absolutely ages to find my chequebook. I don't know, and if I had to find it now, I sort of know. I know roughly which. I don't know which room it's in. I know it might be in one of two rooms, and it took me 5 attempts to write a cheque because I couldn't remember how to write a cheque. I couldn't do it. Couldn't remember how to do it. Right, can you write a cheque? Well, yeah. I mean, do people still write checks on a regular basis? I don't like the phone swiping technology. I don't really dig the phone. I saw someone buying a coffee today using their telephone. No. That's inappropriate. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever, does it? Does it? I only want a 20-second talk-up, please, guys. That doesn't make it... that's not good. Anyway, so they got this new thing for checks. But didn't they... Well, hang on a minute. Wasn't there about 5 years ago, weren't some banks sniffing out the possibility of getting rid of cheques. That was the thing, wasn't it? They were saying, we're thinking of getting rid of cheques. And there was such a big backlash. There was such a lot of anger from old people, I think, primarily, who still like to pay with cheques, that the banks kind of rescinded and went, oh, no, okay, right, in that case, no, we were just kicking the idea around, guys. We're sticking with cheques. We used to get, I remember when I went from NatWest to Barclays, and they gave me like a really posh checkbook holder. Do you remember you get a checkbook holder? I remember my mum always had a checkbook holder, a blankety blank checkbook and pen. And you get this thing, and when the checkbook ran out, you took it out, and mine was like a leather checkbook holder. Flipping heck. What? And you couldn't fold it. In my checkbooks now, it's all tatty. You couldn't fold it. It took up so much space. Anyway, cheques will clear within a day as banks start No, hang on a minute. Cheques will clear within a day as banks start exchanging pictures of them rather than physically handing them over. You are having a laugh. Really? Really? Come on, guys. Photos of cheques? The changes are being phased in from October, with all banks offering the faster service from late next year. Currently, cheques take up to 6 weekdays to clear, but remain popular with some, the elderly. The use of cheques peaked in 1990, when 4 billion were written, but the number fell to only 477 million last year. That's still loads of cheques! Who's writing all the blooming cheques? For crying out loud! Who is writing all the cheques? James Redford, boss of the Cheque and Credit Clearing Company, which is overseeing the move, said, "This will deliver important benefits for the many individuals, charities and businesses that regularly use cheques." Banks and building societies may offer their customers the option of paying in an image of their cheques. Several banks accept cheques via pictures on their banking apps, but only if issued by them. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it! The industry wanted cheques phased out by 2018. Boom! I knew it. I said it. I called it. And I was right. Yes, that's right, guys. I'm celebrating that I remembered a really dull bit of trivia. Yep. That's what my life has become. I am celebrating the fact that I remembered a really dull news story from quite a while ago. Congratulations, Ian. You made the big time, guy. You made the big time. But they will now be around for longer. Barclays chief Ashok Vaswani said they are one of the oldest forms of payments. It brings them into the digital age. Thanks, Ashok Vaswani. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, you're more than welcome to. Quiet on the phone tonight, and that's absolutely fine. It may be that some of you, well, I'm saying this because they won't be listening, but it may be that some people want more of a newsy thing after what happened yesterday. I kind of think yesterday's show I thought went really well, and it's always refreshing to challenge oneself and do something that is out of one's comfort zone. And it's always pleasing when one pulls it off. Fanar. But it wasn't my call to do the show like that yesterday, but I'm glad we did. You know, I'm glad we did. I don't necessarily think it was the right thing to do, but I am, I want to work, and your boss says we're going to do something different. You go, okay, boss. What do you want from me? But I thought that perhaps last night, London, the country, the capital, needed a bit of a laugh. But that's the direction we went. And I think actually it was quite an interesting show. We had some really good guests. We had some really interesting calls from you. So thank you for that. But it may be tonight that there are some people that still want a bit more news, that still want a bit more... or there may be some people that heard the show last night and mistakenly thought that's the way this show was heading forever. Well, it wasn't. It was a one-off, and if things happen, we, as a speech-based station, as a national radio station, with a news agenda. I mean, it's a soft news agenda compared to things like Radio 4 or the idiots in LBC. But it is still a news-based agenda, and we kind of have to be reactive and responsive to big news stories. Of course we do. But tonight, you can phone in about anything you want. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, we call you back, of course. And you can call in about anything. Let me just reiterate what I said at the top of the show, because there will be people listening now who weren't listening nearly 2 hours ago. You can call in about what happened yesterday. I think pretty much everything that needs to be said so far, with the information we had, has been said. I think personally, flicking through the radio stations today, I didn't feel the conversation was going much further. But you can call in about that if you want. The only thing we won't do on this show is spread hatred, is denounce all Muslims, is deny that there are moderate Muslims, is create fear and anger and hatred. Because there are so many outlets on the radio that do that. So many outlets, so you can spare. And I got a little bit of flack on a couple of forums and a little bit of flack on Twitter. Tiny little bit. Nothing that, that didn't worry me in the slightest, but saying, well, there were some people that wanted to talk about the problem with Muslims in this country today, and they called in last night and you cut them short and said that they couldn't talk about that, and I think that's bad of you. And, well, there are so many outlets. If you want to phone up and slag off Muslims, honestly, guys, there are loads of places you can go and do that. Loads of places. Just give it 12 hours on this station and you can do it. Or you can go to another radio station and do it. All right? This show, I don't want to scare people. I don't want to annoy people. I don't want to anger people. So can we just, 3 hours a night, 5 nights a week, can we just, try and do something constructive and something positive and something, I don't know, funny? Fun? Can we have some fun, guys? For crying out loud. Let's have some fun. If you want to call in, you'd be more than welcome to. I'm going to invite Catherine, my producer, to come in and join me for the next hour of the show. But you can still call in. Now would be an excellent time to call in. Heads off, you get to speak to Josh tonight if you call in. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. 0344 499 1000. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Talk Radio.
0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. We're going to sit here, me and Kath are going to go through the papers and talk absolute guff for an hour, which I think is what we need after yesterday's events. Care to join us?
Late Night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
way you helped me up when I was down. And I won't forget the way you said, darling, I love you. You gave me faith to go on. Now we're there, and we've only just begun. This will be our year. Took a long time to come. One of your smile, smile for me, little one. And this will be our year. Took a long time to come. You don't have to worry, all your worry days are gone. And this will be our year. Took a long time to come. And I won't forget the way you helped me up when I was down. And I won't forget the way you said, darling, I love you. You gave me faith to go on. Now we're there, and we've only just begun. This will be our year. Took a long time to come. And this will be our year. Took a long time to come.
That is a song. That is a song. That is an album. That is a band. This is the Zombies, of course. Dear listener, 0344 499 1000. The woman joins me in the studio.
What the haps, chaps?
Sorry, Catherine Boyle. It's always a pleasure. Quiet on the phones tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say it, a slightly flaccid show this evening.
Well, it had its moments.
Nah.
I liked the worm chat. I enjoyed that.
They can't all be doozies.
No.
You know, but when I have a show that is not as good as I think perhaps it could be, 0344 499 1000. By the way, you can still call in. I do think, well, maybe I've lost that edge.
Well, you're an idiot because it only ever
What?
happens. Yes.
You're calling me an idiot?
Well, we have one, and you completely forget about the doozy 2 days before, or the run of doozies we had last week.
Doozy 2 days before. That means two bad shows.
No, it's just that we had to do something that.
Are we going to go and see? Aren't we going to see the Zombies?
September, Palladium, wasn't it?
Okay, we're going to see Danny Baker soon.
Yeah.
In St Albans.
Yeah. We're quite the gadabouts these days.
In it though, and we can write it all off. Well, they're free. But the food and the petrol we can write off as expenses because it's research.
Totes.
For the show. Going to see some Japanese drummers on Saturday.
I'm not.
No, you're not.
Not invited.
No.
You're taking your assistants.
Taking family time. So yeah, the boys going to see some Japanese drummers, see if that inspires them.
To what? Make more noise?
Yeah.
Because they need the encouragement.
Yeah. We'll finish off painting the electric guitar probably on Saturday as well, maybe Sunday. Then you've got to leave it to dry for a week. Then I've bought some varnish. And I've got to paint the varnish on. Then we leave that, then paint the varnish on for a second coat, then leave that, maybe a third coat, and then build a flipping guitar.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And will it work?
Yeah.
What's in it?
Yeah?
What's in it?
What do you mean?
Well, I've only ever played like one electric guitar.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And obviously it doesn't have a sound hole.
No, it's an electric guitar.
Yeah, so, right, there's no electric in the middle of it, is there?
No, it's a bit of wood at the moment.
So
it's a bit of wood.
No, but I'm just trying to work out I don't know how they work.
The pickups.
What's the
pickups.
What's the pickup?
Right, so you got the strings, right? And where you're strumming, if you've seen an electric guitar, there'll be 1, 2, or sometimes 3, or sometimes with the guitar I recently sold for 150 quid, there'll be 6 little black stripes, about half an inch thick, about that long, with metal dots on. They are the pickups. I believe they are magnets.
Right.
I might be wrong here, but that is what amplifies the strum.
Oh, right.
The pickups, and you can have one pickup on for one sound, 2 pickups on for another, or whatever. That is what makes the sound.
I didn't find, when I had the electric guitar for a week,
Yeah.
I didn't find it as fun as my acoustic.
That's because you're a girl. And no, I know it's horses for courses, really.
I'm not used to it.
No.
And no one showed me how to play it properly because my guitar teacher is highly fancy.
She's a classical guitarist,
Yeah.
so you're learning proper finger picking and stuff.
But I need someone to show me how to shred some tunes.
Oh, you don't actually know what you're talking about.
I don't.
I can't. Do you know what? I still in my back of my head I think, I can play guitar, and actually I can't really. I can strum a few chords quite badly, but that's it. That's it. I can't. I always think, I can play. I've got some really nice guitars. I shouldn't have sold that one. I've got a really, really expensive 1967 Gretsch, the Monkees model that they sold hardly any of because the Monkees didn't play their own instruments, and it now goes for about $2,000. And I've got one of them, but I don't play. I don't know how to play it. I can't play it. I'm one of those idiots that's got guitars and I don't play them. Lovely Casino, Epiphone Casino, and I don't play it.
I thought it was fancy having two.
Yeah.
One of them I can't play. It's too big, turns out.
Yeah. Well, your body, you are the Tyrannosaurus Rex of the radio production world, aren't you? And by that I mean...
I've got short legs.
And you got those arms.
Got a long body and short legs.
You got the arms that kind of... can't, if you picked up a phone, it would be hard to put it near your...
They're long. I don't know what they're... I mean, where are your arms supposed to...
You're doing that thing where you shake an arm and one arm's longer than the other.
How far down are your arms supposed to get?
Come on, mate. You're embarrassing yourself.
They get to, below my bum. That's where you need them,
isn't it? But you've got a tiny body.
I haven't. I've got a really long body. Just short legs.
All right, mate. John's in Uxbridge. Evening, John.
All right, soft lad.
Oh, flipping it. Look at this. It's a Scouser from the 1980s.
All right, soft lad.
Yes, oh, yeah, yes, John.
Where did that, was that from, I remember this
Brookside.
Sorry?
Brookside.
Yeah.
I think it was Brookside.
It was. All right, soft lads.
Can I,
But that's what Scousers say. Scousers have got a wonderful way with words.
It was a friendly sort of greeting. It sounds a bit rude, doesn't it,
It sounded aggressive, if I'm honest,
But it was done in an affectionate...
Oops, Charlie, Charlie, oops, Charlie, oops, Charlie, Charlie. Where's that from?
Don't know.
That's from Help, the Beatles. John Lennon's walking down the street with George Harrison. He goes, oops, Charlie, Charlie, oops, Charlie, oops, Charlie, Charlie. But they really are masters of the wordplay, as you'll hear next week with our interview with Jimmy Tarbuck.
Mm-hmm.
Tarby. You've got Tarby on the show, guys, and it's a humdinger. It's a wonderful interview. But tonight it's Nicholas Parsons, John.
Was the word bastard used on air earlier?
Well, it was used on air about 5 seconds ago, yes!
What do you mean by this?
Is it... I shouldn't really be discussing this with Kath in the studio.
Why?
Really?
You don't know what I've seen, John. You don't know.
What, you mean you're listening to the show?
She's focusing on the show. Why are you asking about that word, which we won't say again?
Well, I won't. I just wondered if it was sort of acceptable to use, because I could make use of it in my calls, but I wouldn't want to use it.
No. Did I say it in reference? When did I say it?
I don't think you did.
Oh no, I did say it. I called the callers. I did say.
Oh yeah,
yes.
you did, because I hadn't phoned in.
But that was descriptive.
Mm-hmm.
So no, that's accurate. But no, you can't use it. Only I can.
Excuse me. No, you can't. No more.
Sorry, no more, guys. No more. No, you're right. Actually, and I did impose quite a strict ipsnay on the swear nay recently, and I've let that slip. And if we let it slip, that means ISIS have won. So I'm sorry, guys, you haven't won. The swearing ban's back in place. Thank you.
Take a trip down memory lane with me, Ian.
But I don't know you.
Do you?
I've got no memory. I've got no shared memories with you, John.
Do you remember that? I think it called Play Radio, where you could just use any sweary word.
Oh, Play Radio was Tommy Boyd's venture that was ahead of its time. In many ways, it was ahead of its time. In some ways, it was of its time, but primarily, it was past its prime.
But wasn't it a very high tech sort of studio out in the middle of nowhere? Was it?
It was. I went there once. I did some shows for free. Didn't even cover my petrol. It was a studio in a barn in the middle of a field.
And there was. I remember the one that they could swear, and one day they just used any swear words they liked.
Yes,
or...
because it was online and not broadcast on a frequency. It was an online station, so it's completely different rules. But and we did get a little bit free and easy with the swears here. But no, you thank you for picking me up, John. Because no, I prefer it when when I'm stricter with the swears.
Really.
He wanted to join in. He thought you sounded big and indeed clever.
It's just there's no need for it.
No.
I censor myself when I call it.
Why do you think I say flipping X so much?
Going back to the guitars, Kath.
Yeah.
I personally find the electric guitar easier to play. What do you think, Ian?
I think I agree with John. I think he finds the electric guitar easier to play.
I think my problem is I'm not a natural strummer like what you two are. I'm more of a picker. Okay, this is where you're supposed to agree or disagree, guys.
Well, I don't know anything. I only know... all I know about John's guitar playing technique is what he says to me just before I repeat it,
John,
as you may have noticed.
Tell me more about your guitar playing technique. Wait a minute, so that Ian can listen and repeat it.
No, I'm more of an acoustic guy. I'm soft and sensitive. I'm in touch with my James Taylor.
Have you got metal strings or what?
Yes.
Oh.
Of course I have. I don't like classical guitars. I think they sound awful. No, I am...
Mine sounds nice.
I've got... I can't remember what make it is, but it's got a moustache.
Oh.
Guitar guys, I know the ones I've got. It's a big... I think it's not a country gentleman. Well, that's a level for...
Is it?
But I don't think it is a country gentleman.
Oh.
No. Well, John, thanks for that.
Oh, my pleasure.
There we go. 0344 499
It was his
1000.
pleasure,
Late
wasn't it?
Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Late Night Iain Lee.
On air and off the leash.
On Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Suddenly I've got loads of... it's been very quiet on Periscope. And
Just check my zip when you said that.
Suddenly we've like doubled the number of Periscope views we've had all evening. I don't listen because the woman's in. There's a little bit of flange on the camera.
Oh, wow, there is no flange.
No, just say there is.
Making sure.
Just say there is, 'cause it'll get the numbers up. We'll get something up anyway. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. You've got about 10 minutes before we have Nicholas bloody Parsons on the show. Now, Nicholas Parsons, was he 93?
Yes.
And you phoned him, we did this last week, and you phoned him up the week before and left a message for him to sort out the interview.
Yeah.
So we did the interview last week, and then I believe he phoned up again this week to book the interview in.
Yeah.
He's an old man. He's an old man.
Was the right thing to do not to respond, because that's what I did.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, it's not your... You don't need to. I mean,
He'll remember.
Yeah. Evening, Matt.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Good, thank you very much. What have you got for us, Matt?
Just talking about people that you're interviewing. And I had another thought after we spoke the other day about Graham Gardner and Tim Taylor.
Oh, yes.
Suddenly occurred to me, have you tried Windsor Davies?
Is he still alive?
Oh, yeah. He's retired and he's living down in France. But from what I understand, he's still very, much with it. So... I thought he'd be a great person.
Do you know what?
If he was interested.
That's a good call, actually, Catherine. Windsor Davies.
I'll add it to my to-do list. Thanks very much, Matt.
Well, no, hang on. Don't have a go at Matt. He's doing what you should be doing. He's just brainstorming. He's just coming up with ideas.
Okay.
It's like talking to a sack of spuds.
Oh.
That's a bit rude, Ian. I think you need to wind it in a bit.
No, well,
correct, Matt.
Hang on a minute, Matt. What the heck? Hang on a minute. See, Matt is a good producer. He's he's good ideas, and he's right. I crossed a line, and he reeled me in. Mm-hmm. Matt.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered radio production?
I haven't, but I have found out today that I'm about to get fired, so I'm going to be free.
Yay!
Why?
Are you free now?
I can be free as of, I think...
Why? Can I ask? Let me just ask, Matt, are you being fired for sexual impropriety?
No, sadly not.
In that case, it wouldn't work out as a radio producer.
No,
Sorry, Matt, you haven't got
exactly.
the basic skills that are required.
Lesson number one.
There you go. The other thing, from a radio production point of view, is there was another geezer called in earlier, calling himself Matt, trying to sound like me, talking about women's...
Oh, yeah. We can say periods. I don't mind saying periods or menstrual
periods,
flow. Heavy, light, medium. I don't mind talking about it.
Stop it. It's none of your business.
Do not have him on again, because it's just confusing for the listeners, I'm building a brand.
I tell you what we'll do, right? And Josh, can we type this on the screen? Let's call this guy Matt 2.
Oh, that's out of order. I've called many more times than the other bloke.
And the other guy, when he calls in, we'll call him Proper Matt. Yeah, so this is Matt 2, and the other guy's Proper Matt. Thank you, Josh.
Could you amend our records, please, Josh?
Yeah, okay.
And with the other guy as well, because I don't want to...
Yeah, well, thank you for that call, Matt 2.
All right, then. Thank you, Ian 3.
There we go.
Pound.
That is...
Attitude.
I know, it's not an attractive thing, but it'll make him a better person. Every hero has to go on a journey of discovery. Empire Strikes Back, Luke Skywalker, he's stuck on a planet, boring. But it means he's better in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, if he goes through that whiny phase, though, I was quite happy for him to get a good kick in.
They all do. Luke Skywalker's supposed to be Jesus, isn't he? And Empire Strikes Back is his 40 days and 40 nights in the desert, isn't it?
Oh, that's an interesting thought. I was always told that it was like a medieval, what do they call it?
Story.
No, because...
Romp.
No,
I was always told it... Well, it's not. It's not medieval.
You know, like a romance.
Romancing the Stone.
No, in an old-fashioned sense.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, right.
Try and use words.
You got prince. You got a low-born person who turns out to be a prince, and he's got a princess as well that he has to rescue, and you've got 2 wizards, a dark one and a white wizard.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're not. No, you're wrong. It's cowboys and Indians in space.
What are you talking about?
It's cowboys and Indians in space. Luke Skywalker is Clint Eastwood. And Darth Vader is Lee Van Cleef. Obviously.
He's Han Solo.
He's the fella that flies the Millennium Falcon. Have you not seen it? That was quick. Well, Han Solo is probably Yul Brynner in The Great Escape.
What?
Not The Great Escape. The Magnificent... The Greatest Grape. Magnificent Seven.
Right.
He's Yul Brynner in The Magnificent Seven.
Right. So...
Yes. Continuez-vous, s'il vous plaît.
Talk to me about the swords and that.
Well, it's lightsabers.
Right.
Yeah, they're the guns. They're the cowboys' guns.
Well, what about the phasers?
Yeah, they're cowboys' guns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the Indians in this scenario?
We don't say Indians.
Cowboys and Indians we do. Who's the Indians in this scenario?
Well, the stormtroopers.
Really? But they've got all their high-tech weaponry.
Yeah, but they're the stormtroopers.
Mm.
They are.
But if you're doing
the bad guys.
Yeah. You're such an imperialist.
Yeah, exactly. The imperial forces, and
yeah,
you
so they
are.
Can't be. Oh.
You are such an empirist.
You're such a. You know I'm right, and you just won't let it go.
No, you're not right. I said that Luke Skywalker is Jesus.
No.
Of course he's flipping Jesus. No. Jesus. Here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Lot of stories about Mel B. I've got a lot of time for Mel B. I've got a lot of time for all the Spice Girls.
She was probably my favourite for quite a long time.
Yeah, I think all of the Spice Girls, brilliant. Genuinely, I think they're brilliant. Went and saw them in concert with James Max.
Do you know, my little one loves the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
She's never seen them perform at all. She's only heard the records. She loves them.
I think Mel B's beautiful.
Yeah, she is.
She's a very beautiful lady. That video she did after she left the Spice Girls, where it was all green.
Yeah.
And it was with her first husband, and she's wearing
Jimmy
a basque.
Gulzar.
Yeah, Jimmy Gulzar. And I really spent a lot of time poring over that video. And she's in the papers because she and her husband...
Belafonte.
Stephen Dale!
He's calling it a Deo.
He's calling it a Dello. Because he's going out with Adele. He's not.
No, he's not. She's got married.
Good for her.
Yeah.
About time too. So she split up. Mel B has split up with Stephen Belafonte, Harry Belafonte's son. Okay, and I don't want to know the ins and outs of their marriage. I don't want to know what's going on. Then when she went out with Eddie Murphy, and do you remember when Eddie Murphy got caught with a transsexual hooker in the car, and he said he thought it was a lady and he was giving her a lift
with his
using his penis to drive her home.
Right. I can explain. This isn't what it looks like. It's exactly what it looks like.
But there's this interesting take on. I don't really care about people's, pop stars' personal lives at all. Right? I do genuinely think Mel B is brilliant. I think the Spice Girls are brilliant. But I didn't know this. Mel B's estranged mother expects to be reunited with the former Spice Girl now that she is ending her turbulent marriage to Stephen Belafonte. Mum of 3, Mel, 41, fell out with Andrea Brown 68 years ago after she disapproved of the relationship. Now, I didn't know she'd fallen out with her mum, because I've still got the image of that video where they sing... Didn't they release that for Mother's Day?
Well, they should have. Would have been an oversight not to, wouldn't it?
And it was the mums of the Spice Girls. And so
Oh, and that song's so lovely.
Only because you're a mama.
Well, and because it's true. There's a song, there's a line in it. Used to be my only enemy, never letting me be free, stopping me from doing things I shouldn't be. Every other day I crossed the line. Oh my God, it was so good.
Mama, I love you.
I love the Spice Girls.
Yeah, they're good, the Spice Girls, aren't they?
You know, I could have been a Spice Girl. Well, in a Nice and Spicy cover band.
Nice and Spicy.
Nice and Spicy.
That's knickknacks. That's a flavour of knickknack. Nice and Spicy. It's my favourite flavour of knickknack.
Very, very fitting that I should be involved in something that's named after a crisp. I am like crisps.
Which one were you, the manager? Posh.
Yeah. It was before she lost all that weight. It was when,
I like that video in the desert where she's in the PVC.
Yeah.
That's a good video. Yeah. Remember the video with Jerry, a solo song?
Oh,
and it was all the midgets dressed as aliens.
And it had nothing to do with the song whatsoever.
No, that was funny, that.
Watch the sun. And she sang it like that as well.
Do you know what I'd like? I'd like a best of the Spice Girls, no, I've got one as well, but interspersed with the best of the solo singles, because there's a couple of good solo songs. Mel C did some good solo songs.
She did, yeah. I
like Mel C.
I didn't like Jerry's really very much.
No.
Look at me. She always sounded like she'd been down the pub.
Baby Spice did. She did a version of Candy, didn't she?
Did she?
I want candy.
Did she?
Ding, 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 ding,
I know she
ding.
did. What I am is what I am. You what you are. Oh, what? Do you remember that one?
I like Babe. I say,
and of course you've got Posh Spice with Dane Bowers.
Yeah,
How do you mind?
That was a good song.
That was great.
That was a good song. That.
I'm not sure why she chose the lip ring tattoo image.
Well,
wasn't really her, but I thought it was good.
Yeah, no, I like that. Well, I'll tell you what. Tomorrow we'll do. We'll make it a Spice Girl special.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do our favourite Spice Girls in reverse order, and then we'll just drag that out for 3 hours.
Okay.
In a second, it's going to be Nicholas bloody Parsons.
Uncut after-hours conversation for the up-all-night generation. Late night Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
We are mining a rich seam of guests at the moment, and well done to Kat. Thank you to all of you that are suggesting guests, and you can suggest them to me on Twitter or email ian@iainlee.com. If you tweet me them, don't at the person, because we may not like them and it may not work. And I've had people going, "Hey, I believe you want to interview me." No. We've had a real rich seam at the moment. We got Jimmy Tarbert. We've got pre-recorded. We've got Jill Gibson, who was the 5th mama and papa. But we spoke to Nicholas Parsons last week, and I wasn't quite sure how it would go. What with him being 93, but boy, oh boy, oh boy, we got some really interesting stuff. Did you know he'd been on the Ed Sullivan Show several times? I didn't, and I've never heard him asked about it. So sit back and enjoy me having a chat with Nicholas bloody Parsons. Nicholas, it's such a pleasure to talk to you. You are, you're a national institution, a comedy legend, and I absolutely love you on Just a Minute. How long has that been going for now? 40 odd years, isn't it?
No, 50 years.
Is it?
This year we celebrate our 50th anniversary.
Flipping heck.
I know it is flipping heck, because it's almost difficult to believe. I can't quite believe. I did the original pilot.
Yeah.
And I'm still doing the same show. And I haven't missed a single one. Over 900 performances.
You've never had a sick day?
No, you don't in our business. If you're a bit off colour, you still go into work.
It's beautiful because it's so simple. A lot of these game shows and quizzes and panel shows, they're all a bit complicated. But it's just so simple, isn't it?
Well, basically, yes, it's simple, but what makes it work is having fun within a very simple format.
Yeah.
I mean, we have refined it as the years have gone by. It was much more complicated when we started. Ian Messiter, who created the original game, had all kinds of inhibiting factors in it. In fact, the pilot, if you're interested,
go on.
was a disaster.
Oh, really?
The BBC didn't want it. Well, it wasn't good. It really was not good. We were stumbling all over the place because Ian Messiter, in order to make it sound better, gave us inhibiting rounds where they couldn't use a certain preposition.
Oh, really?
Another round where you couldn't use a pronoun. Another round where you couldn't use plurals. And they were stopping and starting and everything. And the BBC said no. And thanks to the very clever young producer we had called David Hatch, just joined us from Cambridge, and he saw the potential, and he fought for it, and actually laid his job on the line, I've been told.
Yeah.
So we got the first series, not because they thought it was any good, but because they wanted to keep David Hatch on the staff. And then he changed things a lot.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, also another interesting story, I wasn't the original choice for chairman.
Oh, go on, who was?
Well, I was going to be Jimmy Edwards.
Oh, really?
It was a good choice, because Jimmy was doing a program then called Does the Team Think?
Yeah.
With other comedians, all ad-libbing and so forth. And, but the thing was that I don't think Jimmy really wanted to do it. I knew Ian, he was a great personal friend.
Yeah.
I took his idea up to the BBC, because I wanted to do some more improvised comedy, which I just won an award with a program called Listen to This Space, which I created, which was a breakthrough in the comedy world of television. It was a satire show.
Yeah.
It was the first satire show on radio. And I wanted to get back to do some more improvised comedy. And so I was going to be on the panel. And Jimmy was going to be chairman. And he was never available when they wanted to do it. So David Hatch came to me and said, Nicholas, I've got an offer to make you. Would you please be the chairman for the pilot? I said, no, David, please, I don't want that job. I'm not right for it. I said, please, don't give it to me. He said, I'll do a deal with you. You be chairman for the pilot, and if we get the series, you can go onto the panel. Derek Nimmo's free, so we get him. Fine.
Oh, fantastic.
And so I did the pilot, and it was such a disaster. And then after he managed to persuade the BBC to give him his first series, he came to me again and said, Nicholas, I've got a series now of just a minute, and I've had to fight for it. There was only one thing in the pilot they quite liked, and that was your chairman.
Fantastic.
And then we finished the gag, and I said, but David, I was awful. He said, I know, but so was everybody else. Anyway, you don't in show business, if you get offered a good job, turn it down. And you just find a way to use your professional experience, all that you've got over the years, and make that show work for you and work for yourself.
And some of the guests you've had on there have been, absolutely phenomenal. Rob Brydon, Tim Brooke-Taylor, Kenneth Williams, John Junkin.
Absolutely. So the name, it's a sort of stellar list of show business. Just recently, Al Murray came on, Graham Norton, who comes on quite frequently.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Graham, who's wonderful. Graham doesn't need to do that to increase his bank balance. He comes on because he loves to do the show.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons they enjoy it, Paul Merton, who's our regular, did say, he said, the thing is, you don't have to do any preparation.
Yeah.
You just arrive and do it. And if you can do it, then it's great fun, and we all have a lot of laughs. And there is which I try to generate. It's like a sort of orchestra trying to generate the fun. And there is that sense of fun. We're all enjoying ourselves, which is communicated to the audience, and that's communicated to the listener.
Yeah.
And I think that, the end of it all, they've all had a fun time.
Yeah.
And they've gone away with a...
Oh, and that definitely comes across to the listener. You're laughing with everybody because it does sound. How long do you record the show for? Is it half an hour, or does it go on a bit longer?
Well, this is one of the things I'm really proud of, because most shows nowadays, because they can edit, are over-recorded.
Yeah.
Ours is almost recorded to time.
Wow.
He records about maybe 35, 33, 34 minutes, and then he trims down all the gagging and ad-libbing in between to get it. And one of the producers said, I was editing it. I said, it was awful. I was having to leave on the cutting room floor wonderful big laughs, because you've got to get it down to the 27 minutes to fit into the slot. So, I think for safety, he records about 30, 32 minutes or something like that. But basically, it is a live show. And I believe, because I grew up in live television and radio, when everything was live and nothing was recorded, you couldn't record because they couldn't edit. And I believe that thing about being live, you go out there knowing it's got to be right. And I think that gives you a sort of impetus, a frisson, it's the adrenaline pumping.
Yeah.
And I think that's what helps towards the success.
Nicholas, I've been reading a lot about you.
You good?
No, I've done my research. But one thing that really surprised me, you appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show in America, the show that broke the Beatles.
That's right, we did it with the Arthur Haynes
Arthur
show.
Haynes, how did that come about? That's incredible.
Well, Arthur Haynes show, I mean, that again was the first show was called Strike a New Note. It turned into the Arthur Haynes Show with Nicholas Parsons. That was a disaster show. But it began when ITV first began, and they had nothing to replace it because he couldn't take it off. And George Black, who was then producing it for ATV, said, I'm going to get rid of everybody else and keep you and Arthur Haynes, or Arthur Haynes and you, and I think we should do sketches together. He developed then into the Get Happy Show, and then by the end of the year, we changed the title. It was the Arthur Haynes Show with Nicholas Parsons, and we ran for 10 successful years.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, it was booked to go on the Ed Sullivan Show. We went to New York and did 6 shows. It was wonderful. We had 2 weeks over there, and we recorded 6 different shows. And Ed Sullivan was very complimentary to me because Arthur, it's a lovely story. It's in the autobiography, but do you want to hear it?
Yeah, please do. Oh, yes.
Arthur had decided that as I was getting so much attention, he thought he might change the format. He said, Nicholas, I think we should separate. He said, no hard feelings, it's been wonderful, and I'll do another series with you. Then we go to America, and he said, you want to do your theatre work? And I said, well, Arthur, if we become Haynes and Parsons, I'll stick with you forever. And he said, no hard feelings. I think it's been wonderful. And because he wanted, for some reason, I don't know, he felt threatened in some reason, I don't know.
Right.
So anyway, what actually happened was that I agreed, we did these shows, but he then, because he was changing when he came back, and wanted his friend Derek Leslie Noyes to go with him, we were booked by his agent as Haynes and Company.
Oh.
So I wasn't there under my own name of Nicholas Parsons.
Yes.
And I didn't know this until, and of course, as I was booked as Haynes and Parsons, Ed Sullivan thought that I was just a sort of secondary person to him and not his equal.
Yeah.
And after we'd done the first run-through, the first sketch we did, he walked over and right in front of Arthur, he said, this guy's good. He is the best straight man I've ever seen. You want to hold on to him. Don't let him go.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. I bet that didn't go down too well.
You should have seen Arthur's face. Because when we got back, we did go. But unfortunately, it didn't work for Arthur. He got somebody else who was a very good performer, but the public had got used to Haynes and Parsons.
Yeah.
And his next show went down the tubes, and so did his next summer season. And I landed on my feet because I was offered the lead in Birmingham and the West End, and that ran for 15 months. It was wonderful.
One of the things that made me realise just how funny you are and how talented you are was a long, long time ago, because of course I knew you growing up, with Sale of the Century, and that's kind of all I thought you did. And then I saw that wonderful.
That wasn't very long ago, really, in my life.
Well, I know, but then I saw that brilliant comic strip you did with Rick Mail and Adrian Edmondson. Oh, Nicholas bloody Parsons!
Yeah, it was wonderful, wasn't it?
It was so delightful. Peter Cook, of course. How did that? Did you just get a phone call saying, "Is Nicholas free to appear in this show?"
Yes, it did. My agent phoned me up and said they want you to do a show called The Comic Strip, but called Mr. Johnny Lives Next Door.
Yeah.
And they sent me the script. And I realised this guy was being sent out absolutely rotten, the lead character. It hadn't got a name then. And I phoned up and I read the script and I thought it was a very good script. And I said to my agent, it's a great script. Love to do it. And the voice came back to me and said, would you really? And I think they'd offered it to one or two people and they'd all turned it down flat.
Right, yeah.
They weren't prepared to be sent up rotten like that. But you see, I'd got a lot of experience as a straight man. I worked with Arthur Haynes for 10 years, Benny Hill for 4 years.
Yeah.
I knew how to take the flack and come back and make it funny.
Yeah.
And so I realized that this was a great script and a great situation. And so they were delighted, and they were lovely to work with. We had such fun, so many laughs.
It was absolutely delightful, and it was such a revelation for me as a young man seeing that and seeing you, and also you're right, seeing you being able to. Not everyone can take a joke, you know. Not everyone can enjoy that kind of ribbing that you got in it.
Well, it's a technique, I think, because I was trying to explain to you that I think all my experience working as a foil, a straight man, to Benny Hill and to Arthur Haynes, taught me how to take it and come back and make it funnier. Yeah. And also, I mean, Paul Merton does it a lot on Just a Minute with me. Yes. I mean, he takes the mickey out. I was listening to it tonight. There was a recording went on. He was happening. At one point, he made the most outrageous remark about me, and the audience roared with laughter. But you see, I don't know what it is. It's some way of taking the insult, riding with it, showing the audience you enjoy it as much as they do. I mean, I said to him, oh, you're absolutely incorrigible. And I think I'm extremely generous. Actually, it was so funny, I'm going to give you a bonus point. You know, got a round of applause. It's, I don't know what it is. It's just something I can do. I learned it. But show business is a learning curve all the time. You are always, every time you go out and do a show, you're learning. If your antennae are there, you get little wrinkles come to you from your performance, and you'll find how to polish and hone everything that you do. And I've always had that attitude. And so I've evolved a way of working with a comic and taking the flack if they want to give it to me and coming back and being funny myself.
How did you get into it, Nicholas? Did you always want to be in showbiz, and were your parents supportive of that?
No, they did everything to stop me.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you see, I was born at a time you didn't do what you wanted. You did as you were told.
Yeah.
I came from a successful, professional, middle-class family, and I wanted to be an actor from the earliest age, but all my family were professionals. They either took a trade or a professional, the doctors and lawyers and other people. And when I said I wanted to be an actor, my father's reaction was, it was very typical of the age. He said, oh, don't be ridiculous. That's not a proper job. And my mother was horrified because she thought everybody in the entertainment or theatre, she called it, was either debauched or depraved or degenerate. And I said to her one time, I said, but Mother, I don't understand. You love going to the theatre. And she said, yes, I do. And you admire people like Laurence Olivier and Sybil Thorndike and Peggy Ashcroft and other people like that. I said, yes, well, do you think they're all like the people you describe? She said, no. But isn't it a pity they have to work with those sort of people? And so I knew I wasn't going to get anywhere. And because I've always been very capable with my hands, creating things and building things, I had a lot of clocks. I did a clock program recently, which was based on the fact they knew I repaired and put together grandfather clocks.
Wow.
And my parents realized that I had this, I call it another type of creativity. It's creativity with your hands. And they thought, well, maybe he should be an engineer. And they got in touch with the relations we have in Scotland, who got in touch with friends, and they found they knew some person who ran a firm on Clydebank called Drysdale's who made pumps and turbines. And next thing I knew, they'd arranged for me to begin an engineering apprenticeship on Clydebank.
Wow.
Well, quite frankly, I didn't give a damn if I wasn't going to be an actor. Didn't give a damn what I did.
Yeah.
And the next thing is during the war, just started in 1940, January, just got my matric, which was the equivalent. I was actually eligible to go to university. I was just over 16, and I was on a train going up to Glasgow in the blackout, the war, and I found myself some digs and a boiler suit. And the next day I was on the green tram car going down to Yoker on Clydebank. I thought I'd entered another world. I didn't understand what they were talking about to begin with. Oh, Paul, you know, it's only for you, he said, you know, they were off, and then very glad to go, accents. Oh, well. And anyway, I mean, but again, I think it's the actor in you.
Yeah.
If you're going to survive in that environment, you've got to find a way to make a rapport, a relationship with them. And I found a way to do it. I mean, they found me entertaining. I could mimic the gaffers and the foreman, and so I became a mate. I remember one of them saying to me, saying, "Hey, wait, we're going to ask you, said, are you a boss's man?" And I realised what they were after. I said, no, I don't know the bosses at all. Of course I knew them, they got me the job. I said, he said, because that's all right, Nicholas. I mean, you're okay. You muck in, you become one of the lads. You know, you make us laugh as well. Because, I mean, that's it. you're a mate. Because if you were a boss's man, we'd crucify you. Can you imagine surviving under those circumstances? But I did, and it's one of the few things I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
I did 5 years there. 5 years. And it went into all the different departments. And I am actually a qualified marine and mechanical engineer.
You could still do it now?
No, not now.
No.
I wouldn't know. Look at me. Yeah.
Did you ever, when you became...
I couldn't do it. I've got the ability to do it.
Yes.
But things change.
Yes.
Automatically, things change. I mean, technology changes, and mechanical things change and improve, and so forth.
Excuse me. I don't know when your parents passed, Nicholas, and I wondered if they did see you become successful. If they ever... Did you get that well done, son?
They embraced it.
Yeah.
No, they never said well done. They just thought I was still mad. But they still supported me and came to see my shows and everything like that. Yes, of course they did. They accepted it.
And you're still doing Just a Minute, and it's still hilarious. You still do your shows up in Edinburgh. Is there anything, looking back, Nicholas, that you haven't done yet that you'd still like to do?
Well, I've done a lot of things. I began to direct and make short films for the cinema and little documentaries. And actually, I think if you do a lot, you'll begin to learn how to make things and tell other people how to do it. And I would love to have directed one. I've directed 1 or 2 plays.
Yes.
My friend Eric Nimmo used to send productions out to the Far East to the different hotels, and I produced a couple of plays for him. And I would love to have done more directing. But if you're going, it's got so specialised, our profession, if I'd said, listen, I'm going to stop acting and become a director, you can't do both. But, I mean, I thought it was too much of a gamble.
Yeah.
I'm secure as an actor. I'm getting
What documentaries did you make, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, they were in the cinema. There was a time in the 60s when they were taking, or in the 70s particularly, when they were taking documentaries.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a thing called the ED money, and it was a very good idea. A certain amount of money had to be taken from every distributor and put into a fund to help young, or not to say young, aspiring filmmakers.
Right.
So there was a little bit of cash available. And so if you wanted to go out and make it, and the distributors had to have a short, which was anything up to 30 minutes in the cinema. And so they were obliged to do it. And unfortunately, Margaret Thatcher, who was always from, what was the word they used? Was it cost effective? She's looked into this and said, is it making any money? Is it cost effective? No, it isn't, but it's a wonderful way of helping and encouraging new and aspiring young filmmakers. Oh, she said it's not making a profit, cancel it. And of course the distributors were delighted because they didn't have to give a little bit of money back. And so it all finished. But while that was on, I made there was one I made to help the charity I've worked for ever since, since it almost started, the Lord's Taverners. And I found them to play cricket in Corfu. And so I decided to do a cricket match and showed them playing at Blenheim, which was always the first game of the season. Because they had a lot of celebrities, far more celebrities playing for them than they do now. And then I took a whole team with some wonderful players, John Cleese, John Alderton, Brian Ricks.
Wow.
And we went to this team with 3 professional players out, and I fixed it all. I went out there, planned it all, and we filmed a cricket match out in Corfu, and we had them all fooling around and playing the game as well. And we called it Mad Dogs. I called it Mad Dogs and Cricketers.
Fantastic.
But I was the producer, the director, and everything.
Yeah.
And I was in it as well.
Of course you were.
And it worked very well. And actually, it's now on. I think it's on YouTube, because I gave a copy to the Lord's Taverners charity, and they, in order to publicise what they do, I think they've given it to the YouTube so people can see it, actually. Very successful film. Then I did one about their golf, another one about the British life. I called it Terribly British, and another one about, a number of things I made. And so I enjoy doing that.
Nicholas, listen, I'm going to let you go because I can hear you've got Coronation Street on in the background. I don't want you to miss that.
No, my wife is a Coronation fan. Can you hear it?
I heard the theme tune coming back in after the adverts.
Oh, right. Well, that's because my wife, she loves soaps. I mean,
don't worry about that.
It's a great show, isn't it?
It's a crack. Have you ever been in Coronation Street?
No, I've never been in any of the soaps.
No?
They've never asked me, no.
I can imagine you strolling down there.
That's one of the few things I haven't done. Because now, because when I was younger, they didn't have people who are known elsewhere in the soaps. Now they do, because they've all been in them, haven't they? Ian Lavender and Les Dennis and others.
Oh, I can imagine you ordering a pint in the Queen Vic in EastEnders or something. I can imagine that. Nicholas, it's such a thrill to talk to you. I honestly, I just think you're absolutely fantastic. Keep going, and
not at all.
I look forward to more Just a Minutes. Thank you so much for your time, Nicholas.
And by the way,
yes, sir.
May as well plug it.
Go on.
I have written a book.
Oh, plug it.
About Just a Minute, called Welcome to Just a Minute, which is a phrase I used at the beginning.
Yes.
And that's still available in paperback. It came out in hardback. I did the memoirs just a few years previously, which was, my life in comedy. And I still do my one-man comedy show around the country. I'm up for the Oxford Festival in April, so I do my comedy show.
Do you ever feel like just retiring and having a rest? Has that ever been an option?
I think I'd fall down and die.
Yeah.
I mean, I do believe that if you keep yourself going and use your brain, it helps to keep you young.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important to people to have that attitude, because you hear of people who've done the same job for many years and then they retire, whoops, and they just potter about, and then they fade away. I think you've got to keep using your grey matter, and that helps to keep you young and keeps you going.
Oh, I think, and I hope this doesn't sound patronising, I think you are genuinely an inspiration. Well, are you 93 now, and you're keeping up with people like Paul Merton and Josie Lawrence, and you're seeing them head to head, you know.
Thank you for the compliment, but yeah, I think, if you keep on the ball, I think there's no reason why you shouldn't.
Nicholas, bless you, sir. Thank you so much for your time. Take care.
Lovely to be on Talk Radio, and best wishes to all your faithful, loyal listeners, and you should have more and more of them.
Thank you, Nicholas. Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.